Everyone's always talking about the S&P 500 being the best place to invest your money, right? Well, hold on to your hats. Because today, I'm flipping that narrative on its head. In this video, I'll explain why investing in the Nasdaq-100 might actually be a better option. To support this claim, I will discuss and analyze the annual returns for both Nasdaq and S&P 500, their volatility aspects, and how you can safeguard your investments. Stick with me till the end, because you are going to get some surprising insights if you are thinking to invest in either of these indexes. Let's start with a quick refresher in case you're new to investing. Both S&P 500 and Nasdaq-100 are indexes which provide a statistical measure by tracking the performance of stocks. S&P 500 tracks the 500 largest companies in the U.S. across diverse sectors like tech, healthcare, and finance. It's a snapshot of the overall market. Nasdaq-100 tracks the 100 largest non-financial companies listed on Nasdaq. It's a tech-heavy index, with some of the most innovative companies in the world, like Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, Nvidia, and many more. Index-based investments are preferred for many reasons. This could be diversity, lower costs, consistency, transparency, etc. I pulled the data from 1985, all the way to the current year. I have considered the closing valuations for these indexes for each year till 2023. As 2024 is still not completed, I have considered the last month, while recording this video, which is October 2024. Now that we have the data ready, let's try to get some insights. The first number everyone looks at is the annual returns. If you look into the S&P 500 index, average annual return across 40 years is 10.23%, whereas in case of Nasdaq-100, this value is whopping 17.39%. This indicates that investing in Nasdaq-100 will return you 7 percentage points more, on average, compared to S&P 500. Which means, if you would have invested $100 in any given year, on average, it would become roughly $110 in case of S&P 500. And in case of Nasdaq-100, it will be around $117. There is one catch though: volatility. If we go through the returns in more detail, you will see that in 2000, 2001 and 2002, the annual returns were all negative, for both S&P 500 and Nasdaq-100. Interestingly, Nasdaq-100 dropped much harder compared to S&P 500. This higher volatility is why some people lean towards the safety of the S&P 500. But what if I told you there's a way to beat this volatility? The simple way to achieve this is by investing for long-term. From a long-term investing perspective, we will be looking into the returns of Nasdaq-100 and S&P 500 for 5, 10, and 20 years periods. Let's look at returns over a 5-year period. If you invested $100 in Nasdaq-100 5 years ago, which is end of 2019, it would be worth $255.12 today. That's an annual return of 20.6%. Okay, you say, but maybe that's just luck over the last 5 years. Great point. To answer this, I ran the numbers for all 5-year periods in the last 40 years, starting from 1985. How exactly I am doing it? So, for the 5-year period returns for today, we started calculating from annual returns in 2020. Now for the 5-year period returns in 2023, I am considering the period starting from 2019. For 2022, this 5-year period will start from 2018, and so on. And here is the average annual returns for a 5-year period investment, across all the available years. I could not make the calculation for year 1990 and further down, as we do not have the 5-year period available in these cases. Still, we have the data across 35 years, and if we see the average annual returns, this again tells that your annual return is around 17.6%. On the other side, a similar calculation for S&P 500, it's just 9.7%, which is almost half of Nasdaq-100 gains. This means if you would have invested for 5 years at any point of time, with Nasdaq-100, you would have gained around 2 times more, compared to an S&P 500 investment. Let's push it further, to put more weight on my theory. For 10-year investments, a similar calculation tells us that Nasdaq-100's annual return is 17.3%. And for S&P 500 it's just 9.5%. For 20-year investments, Nasdaq-100 gives you 15.4% annually. whereas S&P 500 lags behind again, at 8.3%. The data clearly shows how consistent the performance of Nasdaq is when you are investing for long-term. So, here's the deal: if you're thinking long-term, 5, 10, or 20 years, Nasdaq-100 is a clear winner. Yes, it's a bit more volatile, but that smooths out over time. We live in a digital-first world. Technology is everywhere, and innovation isn't going to slow down. Companies in the Nasdaq-100 are the ones leading this change. If you believe in the power of innovation and want to grow your wealth with minimal involvement, Nasdaq-100 is your best bet. Thanks for watching. This is my first video on investment. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below, and let me know, what's your take on Nasdaq-100 versus S&P 500?